Good morning, everyone, and welcome to 2 Minute Tips. Today, we're going to be talking about, let me find it here. I need to tell you, I've had some crash as far as technical stuff is concerned, and I wasn't sure that I could even go on this morning. But thank goodness everything has worked out okay. And if anybody has any trouble, please let me know. So today's topics are going to be lip tips and tricks and colors and staying power and using a stain right through to a red carpet look. Then we're going to look at age discrimination and how we can combat that. And then, of course, we're going to have our usual questions and answers. So let me just jump right into everything here. So again, I would appreciate if anybody's on or when you get on, if you could let me know if you're seeing everything okay. Hi, everybody. And okay, so it seems like it's working, which is great. All right, so we're getting into lips, and we've got, some great information for today on both topics. Now, lips, the topics are, as I said, talking about staying power, how to correct your lip, and that sort of thing, which is something many of us need to do as time marches on. Then we're going to talk about color and intensity and what's appropriate and what isn't and what works and what doesn't. So first out of the chute, does anybody recognize what this is? This is a wax-based lipstick on an older face that I would absolutely be assured that she's wearing either a cream or a liquid foundation. And what's happened is just time, just talking, just drinking coffee, just doing whatever, the wax goes up into the fine lines around the mouth. Now, it's a great color, a little heavy on the blush there, but I think that this example speaks loud and clear as to why I really, really do love the Maybelline Superstay 24 Hour. Now, there are other long-wearing lip colors. In L'Oreal Infallible is one, and Maybelline has come up with a new one. I think it's Ink Matte or something. So it's matte. It doesn't have a balm that you need to put on over top of it, and it stays. But from what I can tell, it doesn't stay quite as good as the Superstay does, but it's an alternative. And here is an example of my lips, and why do I like it? Because it doesn't bleed, it doesn't feather, it doesn't transfer, it doesn't do any of that stuff. And what I love about it is, you can use it and wear it a variety of different ways. And of course, I've got it on today. We're going to try to look at this movie. Let me see. Now you see, this is where I ran into a little bit of problems. Let me just check. Hopefully I've got it. Let me see. Sorry, guys. Oh my goodness. I got to keep talking while I can find this, because I thought I had checked everything out and everything was okay, and obviously I was wrong. But I have a little picture, a little motion video that I made for you guys for lips that I did, and where did it go? It has disappeared off the. Oh no, here it is. Okay, so let me see if I've got this coming up now. There we go. Oh, I've got to take this off. What I'm doing is I'm going to put a hold on this for a second, because I've got to place it in the right place, in the right way. I'm really sorry for this, guys, but let me get my mug off here first of all. Whoops. Ah, there. Sorry for that confusion there, guys. I'm still working at a few kinks, so when everything crashed on me, I was like, ah! But I think we're going to be okay. So now, what I want to also show you is, let me get I'm wearing that same lipstick today. And what I'm wearing over top of it is the Timeless Toffee number 150. Let me show you these. Yes, it's the number 115 Forever Chestnut and Timeless Toffee over top. Why? Because it lightens up the center, but I don't take it to the roll. It lightens up the center to give it more of a 3D look, so it doesn't look so flat. Anyway, now I'm going to show you some examples of lips that I have done over as far as correction is concerned. Now here we have a lip that is a little bit on the thinner side, and you see that it's needing some correction to even it out. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that either. So there what I did was I lowered it in the center. Now for most of us, when we're past 21, I find that the center of the upper and the lower is where you want to do any of your augmenting, not necessarily at the ends, but in the center. It brings back a fullness without doing it in too strong a way. Now here's a lovely lip, and where the upper lip is smaller than the lower lip and the little peaks are fairly separated. That's very easy to correct by just filling in along, bringing the two peaks together and putting a little bit more in on the top, going over the side of the roll. Then what you've done is you balance off so that the upper and the lower lips are looking the same. Now we have a thin lip here, and great lip color, but it's just a little bit thin. However, with a little bit of augmentation, the same way, in the center more, in the upper and the lower, it brings back that fullness that goes missing. And our final contestant here, again, we have somebody with a smaller upper lip. That happens, a fair bit. And how do we fix it? We just add a little bit more to the top. That's all that is necessary. So now we're going to move along to looking at the color. How often have people said to you, or have you thought that, especially when we're older, wear a lighter lip because we were told that light, which is true, makes things look bigger. But sometimes the opposite is true. It's like dark diminishes, but sometimes the opposite is true. If we have dark on our eyes, if I putting on an eyeshadow in a dark color theoretically should push the eyes back, but it doesn't. It brings the eyes out. So this same principle is applying for the light look. Now, this is Brigitte Bardot in her heyday. She's young, got great skin, and notice how full her lips are. I mean, they stick out that full. Now, using the theory that older women, if you want to wear lighter lipstick, here's Helen Mirren wearing a lighter lipstick. Do you see what the differences are here? One, it's too pale. There is no depth or intensity behind it. You take a look at the color of Brigitte Bardot down in the corner here, and do you see that there's some in color or some intensity to the color that she's wearing? Now, let's take a look at Helen Mirren with a more stepped up color. Do you see the difference between the two? Now, of course, her hair is different and that sort of thing, but generally speaking, the color just gives a bit more weight to, and especially to, the older face. Now, here we have our Oscar femme fatales, Helen Mirren, Jane Fonda, and I keep forgetting her name, Devil Wears Prada, Meryl Streep. Lovely dresses, lovely everything. But let's take a closer look. I'm going to see if I can enlarge this for you. Let's start at the would be my right, so probably your left-hand side. The red dress that Meryl is wearing. I love the color, and I like the 3/4 sleeve. But take a look at her makeup and her hair. That lipstick does nothing, or the color does nothing to work with the dress. Her eye makeup is strong enough, but her hair is nondescript. It's, and I have to tell you, I've often wondered why Meryl's makeup artist, who she's had for eons, most of the things I see Meryl in, she looks like she has just come back from lunch. Her lipstick is kind of worn, and it's going into the small crevices or lines around her mouth. Take a look in The Devil Wears Prada the next time you see it. There's only a couple of scenes where her lips look great. The rest of the time, where she's wearing makeup, it looks like it hasn't been attended to. Okay, so just the wrong tone. Number 2, Jane Fonda. Again, lovely dress, etc. And she, has a darker hair. But in my opinion, her lips are a little too light. Why? Because they don't have the depth behind them that is necessary to pull this off. With all of that white and everything else, she certainly could have pulled off a stronger color. Now, step to number 3, our contestant Helen Mirren. As far as I'm concerned, this is the winner on a couple of points. One, her dress is lovely and doesn't do the revealing bit, if you know what I mean. It's not necessary. Number 2, I love how her hair is coming softly over her forehead so that it's got a softness to it. Number 3, look at her lips. In comparison to the other 2, I just think that she's the winner, again, in my opinion. And I'm just, with respect, just using this as a learning tool for us. Okay, Maybelline as a stain. You remove excess from the wand before you apply it. Apply it to your upper lip only, and then smush it with your fingers the way you want, and then bring your lips together and blend with your finger. Add the balm. Now, if you don't want the sheen of the balm, then you can always, after a couple of minutes, just go over it with a Kleenex, and it'll take off the balm, and you'll have a matte look, if that's what you want to do. Now, here's the Maybelline as a daytime look. We might want to apply a couple of coats. This particular color here is Perpetual Plum. Now, you can apply, if you wipe the stuff off your wand and you apply it lightly, you'll get a bit of a different look. But if you want more impact, like this one has, you apply one coat, a thin coat, let it dry, and then add a second coat to give you more intensity. And you can also add a third coat just, after the second coat's dried, just in the center here, and add the balm, and you're good to go. And then, of course, for special occasions, here is, I believe this is Flame. Yeah, number 25 by Maybelline. I just apply one rich coat, let it dry, and then I add a color like 150, which is what I've got on top of this today, to if I want it to look a little bit more on the warm highlighted side, or I add 110 if I want it to look a little bit more on the cool highlighted side, or I add number 20, which is a coral look, to give it that kind of summer watermelon-y sort of look. Let it dry, and make sure that the corners are just a little bit darker. And then when it's dry, add the balm, and you're good to go for all of it. So I hope that's been helpful for you. Now, let's take some questions and see if there's anything that anybody has to say about this, or pose your questions, please. Okay, let me see if I can bring this on, and I can do that. Wonderful. Ellen Crestos, when deciding to augment in any way, you decide based on lips when smiling. Many of us, the top lip is thinner when smiling to augment larger or line as they are at the rest. I think I know what you're saying, but I'm not quite sure. Maybe I'm not even reading this right. When you, let me see if I can give you an example here. If I were, I'm going to take a lighter color in case I make a mistake. If I would first of all make sure that you have the right. See how this doe foot is? Now, do you see the top? I turn it around and point it in like this, so that it's like a lip liner. Like you draw your guidelines for your eyebrows. When you have to correct, you draw your kind of like your guidelines for your lips, and then you fill them in. Now, once you get used to it and you know where you have to draw, then you don't do that anymore. It's like myself. I really have to bring this down on this side, and I'm noticing now on this side I could do it a little more. This side here it's so much longer, and I have to cut it off short, but make it look like it's not cut off. But because I've been doing it for so long, it's well, it's I know exactly where I need to go with that now. So let me see. Okay. Let me see if we have some other questions. I agree with Helen as she is the winner. Good. Lips look full at rest, stretched thinner when smiling. Augment larger. Again, I'm still not sure. When you're applying your lipstick, don't do any of that. Just as natural as possible, because if you distort too much until you're really used to it and you know exactly what it is, where you need to put the line. The other thing that you can do is take a lip brush and grab some color from here, from the wand, and use the lip brush to draw your line on. That's easy enough to do too. Just make sure you clean it with a little alcohol afterwards, otherwise it'll dry and it'll cake. So that's another approach. I agree, Helen is the winner. Let me see. Yeah, they do have fantastic figures, and see, I can tell you, they're Spanxed and corseted up to the hilt. I mean it. And they've got well, I remember control top, pantyhose and things like that. Trust me, they are. I've been doing a little research on corsets too, and I have to tell you, I kind of wish they'd bring them back, because man, oh man, they're a lot more comfortable. And I've learned a little bit more about how women in the Victorian era, how they got around it. Apparently it wasn't as bad as what, we've been led to believe. But that's another subject for another day that we can explore. Lisa Hardy, I swear, woman, I just love you. Well, thank you, Lisa. That's very sweet. It's probably the information I'm giving that it's what you're crazy about. Donna Shiro, I can't wear a light color with my gray hair. I look too washed out with no color. You're absolutely right, Donna. Absolutely right. And I hope that this that little demonstration of the three, icons that we all know, shows the difference that it makes with when you have a good lip color. It makes a huge difference. Now, I'll go back to this color, this 115 that I demonstrated with, and I'm wearing it today. Now, when I stand back, I still have, it's lighter, but it has depth to it. Why? Because I made sure that I did a little extra on the corners, okay? And when I added the 150 in the center here, it made the center pop out, the corners kind of go back. So it gives it that 3D look. It gives it the dimension that gets missing when we wear a flat one color. So that's great colors to choose from. Oh, good. So I'm just looking to see. Okay. Molly Adams I will now try that lipstick. I've having trouble with feathering. Absolutely, Molly. Absolutely. That's why, when I see people, they're. I'm gonna. Here's a little something too. Do you know why we buy lipsticks and eyeshadows? We buy them because we like the color. Think about it. You go into a store and there's a wonderful displays, and they know what they're doing. Wonderful displays of color, beautifully done and labeled and everything else. And you have your tester stuff you can try and that sort of thing. You're buying the look on the table. You're buying the lipstick, how it looks in the tube when it hasn't been worn and it's not, flat or it's not messed up or in any way. That's what we're buying when we buy lipsticks. And I can tell you, like this color here, this 115, well, you know what? I have to tell you, my daughter Andrea was the one that showed me how she used it as a stain. It was her that invented it. So I need to give her credit. But she loved that color. It looked great on her, and she had brunette hair, and so it looked good. And but she didn't want it too heavy. She would just put a little bit on her finger, and she'd just put it on like this, and then spread it around and smush, and it looked lovely on her. This is a classic color, and it's warm. Now, the other thing is, when we hear people with gray hair, you have to only wear cool colors. Au contraire. I don't know if you can see it, but I have brown eyeshadow on today. I still have the gray brows. And I have brown in my crease line. And I have brown here. And I have brown on my waterline. And this, because I used a warm highlight on this lipstick, it leaned towards the warm tones. I'm also wearing this is a khaki gray blouse that is, are you ready? 25 years old, and it's a man's shirt. And what did I use for blush? An orange. I'll show you. I used an orange eyeshadow. And then I went in with this color green, which is very close. Let me see if I can get it right. It's kind of close. It's in the same color tone as this shirt. But what I did was I put some just on the end of my eyes and just underneath here. You can't really see it unless you're up really, really close. Oh, goodness. But when you step back, what it does is it works together with the color. And I'm going to do another session on eyeshadows for another day. But I just wanted to show you that, while I'm wearing this, that it doesn't, warms can work for everybody. Khakis, browns, bronzes, everything. It really can work. It's just putting it all together in the right way. Okay, let me see what else we have here. I've never tried the SUPERSTAY until now. Well, good. Enjoy it, because I'm sure that you will. I'm sure that you will. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody who's been saying hello here. Thank you so much. It's really good to see you all. Yes, I love warm tones too, Kathy Kitterman and Stephanie. Yes, warm tones still favor me, even with my gray hair. Yes, and you have a wonderful picture up on our Going Gray and Loving It Facebook page too, Stephanie, where you demonstrate that wonderfully. So lots of rules to be broken, as long as they're broken in the right way for what we need. This lipstick is changing my life, Sharon. I never have to worry. Let me bring this up here. For Stephanie, I never have to worry about being caught without color while eating or running around busy all day. I can't believe I overlooked this brand for years. I know, Stephanie. Thank you for that confirmation of how great this is, whether you want to wear it as a stain, a day look, or red carpet full on. You've got lots of options. It's just your application technique, like your application technique with your eyeshadows. or your application technique with your foundation, or, you know, doing your brows. And we don't need a lot of different colors. Honest to God, folks, we really, really don't. Let me see. To a Go Girl 100, do you exercise or take supplements? You look healthy and glowy. Well, thank you. I do try to live a healthy lifestyle. I'm not perfect, but I can tell you why I look healthy and glowy is because I practice what I preach. This is the dual finish foundation, no concealer, no anything. Just made sure that I used my little dome brush, got right into the corners of my eyes and all that sort of thing. That's all that it is. And when you keep it simple in color and simple in what you're using, the focus then becomes on your eyes. Did you notice in those dresses? Let me see if I can go back to them. I think I can. I'm going to just remove this for a second. What is it about these dresses that makes them look so great? There's no pattern. They're all one color. And all one color, there's a strength to it. And what you see are their faces, aside from their great figures that are, you know, trust me, corseted up. It's the simplicity, and it's that same simplicity that you use toward your makeup and your hair designs that makes for it working so well. So that's really what you're looking at. Oh, you're welcome, Stephanie. Hi, Joan. Nice to see you here. Okay, so I don't think, is there any other questions that anybody has with respect to the lip colors that we did today? All righty. Then I'm going to jump right into Inner You, because I put all these things under that because it's inner beauty. And we're going to talk about age discrimination. But first, let's talk about the words young and old. Old is a word that we cower from in society. It's often stated in a revulsive rather than a revered way. And it supports the fact discrimination is documented to be on the rise. It truly is. And saying that someone looks younger is also part of this social engineering. It comes from that same negativity, even though people I know say it to give a compliment. Most times, but it's not a compliment deep down inside your psyche, because what it's saying is, well, if I don't look younger, well then, oh dear, you know what I mean? We've got to get away from that. It's part of the problem. Now, discrimination is also at both ends of the spectrum, and it's on the rise. I can remember, when I was younger, because I had to grow up fast and hard. It was just my world. I was like I am, except with a few less life experiences, at 18. I was just like an old soul, and we've all met them, and some of you may be old souls too. And it was really hard in the business world because I was younger. I wasn't considered. It wasn't about whether I could do the job or not. It was because I was younger. And so young people are, having that issue themselves to deal with. That, as older people or those in between, we've kind of carved out a niche for ourselves, and it doesn't matter so much. And it's the same. And I remember back when I used to be told, you're very selfish if you don't have kids. I'm sure some of you can remember that, but that was the thinking of the time. But you see, those kinds of age discriminations still follow us around today. I'm just checking here. Sorry, guys. Um, yes, it is as at both ends of the spectrum. Now, for a fun observation that, um, as we get older, though, uh, remember when you were young and used to think that, 39 or 40 was old? Well, the closer we get to 40, we move the goalposts. 50 or 60 or 70 seems old. When we get to 50, 80 seems old. When we get to 70, 90 seems old. So, it's just a fun observation, I think, that bears talking about. So how do we handle these discriminations, especially when seeking employment? Because a lot of women who are close to retirement or not, given life circumstances or whatever, they're being met with discrimination in the workforce. So how do you handle it? And I'm going to say this, our current corporate culture is very greedy, and it doesn't care about anything other than the bottom line, dollars. People are expendable. So, given that, what do we do? Now, what I'm going to say here. Whoops, I missed something here. One of the things that we need to do, yes, is to look at our financial situation. Because whether you're 40 or 50 or 60 or wherever you are, life sometimes sends us really difficult stuff. And if you don't know your financial situation and know what you need to achieve, it doesn't help you when you're having to look for either work or creating your own business. So you need to ask yourself, what skills do you need to upgrade for employment or a business that you may be creating? Because after a certain point, I mean, there's been people who have gotten a job and they're really qualified for it, but they're thought of as being, well, you're too old, and there was somebody shared with us last week that she got hired for a job and well qualified for, but then she was let go along with another older person that they just cleaned house to get rid of the old folks. That's really a shame because, younger people, while they may have the digital skills, older folks have the experience and guidance. So one of the things you can do to help yourself too, besides knowing what your financial situation is and how to increase your upgrading and that sort of thing, is trade skills with a younger person or somebody who's got the digital know-how. You mentor them and they mentor you in the two different aspects that you bring to the table. Those are really important aspects. Now, from the presentation perspective, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? That makeup, hair, and wardrobe is important. All your skills, they can't see necessarily, but the way you present yourself, yes. If you've got 10 women in a line, you're all lining, you're in the starting blocks, waiting to get out, and who's going to be the winner? How do you get out of the starting blocks faster than anybody else? One of the ways is how you present yourself. It truly, truly is. And not to be overlooked is mentoring or updating your skills, of course, and refresh also your vocal skills and how you express yourself with your face and your body. Vocal skills, people don't pay nearly enough attention to this. It's 45% of how you influence the world. An example of a younger person, they're going to talk faster and they're going to talk higher and that sort of thing. And so it's going to have a certain flair to it, a certain impression it's going to make with people because they talk like this. And older people will, there's a variety, of course, but Sometimes our voices are much lower as women, and that can work or it cannot work. But if you're competing with a bunch of, millennials or younger people, then you're going to want to raise your voice a little bit, and you're going to want to speed it up. The point I'm making here is that know vocally what your competition is too. Okay? And whether it's for work or whether it's for whatever, if you need to influence some way, you've got to know what the parameters are and then bring what you can to the table for that. The other thing that's really important for business or anything is to create an elevator speech. Now, for those that may not know what that is, it's a pitch. It's a, hi, I'm Sharon Danley, and I'm currently, or I am, whatever word you want to put in on it, I'm a healthy beauty and confident aging advocate. You want something that's only 10 to 20 seconds long, because you never know where you're going to be in a situation where you could be talking to somebody where you may influence them for a job or a position in or doing something with your volunteering or any number of things. So I'm going to put a link up here to my Voice of Your Choice playlist where there's lots of good information there to help you. At least look at your voice or listen to your voice. Use your recorder on your phone because it's the best thing there is going. Record, play, critique. Record, play, critique. Practice your elevator speech or your pitch or whatever it is until you get it the way you want. And the other thing is for those who are seeking employment or creating your own business. If you're creating your own business, you probably have your own website. But a Hotmail, a Yahoo, or a Gmail email isn't going to cut it when you're trying to get income, and especially employment, especially as an older person. Now, the other thing it's important is to know what your corporate culture is. What are they looking for? What's their dress code? Do your research and dig deep. Find out all the little things that you can so that when you go in, you're armed with facts, you know your game, you know everything about them, and you know what it is you want to sell them, and have 2 or 3 maybe elevator or pitch speeches ready for that. I have to tell you, when I started my own business, and the reason life circumstances, we won't go there, but I found that I had to change everything in my life for about a second or third time. And I was everything had changed. Fax machines had come in and the internet and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I remember once having a breakdown with the internet in an office. I had no idea I just didn't know. It was a horrible time in my life, but I ventured through it. So I thought, okay, I sat down and I journaled. What have I got? What do I want? What do I need to aim for? And I thought, well, got my makeup and hair and, all that kind of stuff I've been doing since I was 9. What have I got? What do I like to do? And I like to use my voice and stuff. So, okay. So I packaged together the different things that I like to do, and then I zeroed in on how can I make those viable into a viable business for myself. So then I went and I worked for a person who was running her own company doing image consulting for people. I worked for very little. She was not a good employer. She was one of those gold digging types, but I stayed anyway. Because why? It was a hell of a lot cheaper than going to school. I was getting on-the-ground experience. And instead of paying tuition, I was getting paid a paltry paycheck, which helped to cover my expenses. So I saw and I studied and I watched how she ran her business, and I journaled how I could do it better, how I could do it fairer, and what was working and what wasn't. And from that experience, I created my own company and presentation management, and I ended up coaching, business execs in major banking institutions and a number of corporate entities, and I kept honing. So, and at the same time, I went and worked for CBC, because I had put together such a good portfolio of my work, and I went in, presented. I knocked them over, I know I did, because I didn't go in like your regular makeup artist. I went in with a suit. I, was all done up, but I had my portfolio. I had my elevator speech, hired on the spot, and was there for about 10 years. When disaster strikes, if you go to base one and ask, what is it I've got? What do I love to do? And how can I marry them together and make a job out of it? So, those things, they're all the little things that you need to do when you are, when you're looking for work, and not just looking for work. You creating a business, or if you're retired, it's the same kind of thing, because retired doesn't mean you stop living. You're still out there, you're doing things, you're either volunteering, or maybe you're doing part-time work, or maybe you're influencing some way in your social circles or whatever. So you want to be taken seriously in whatever it is. Then that's what you kind of need to do. Now, the bottom line in all of this is, whether you're working or retired, keep your own house in order. Clean off your front stoop first. Be concerned about yourself rather than what your neighbors do. What are you doing rather than looking at or thinking about what your neighbor's not doing? And this applies to every age. Second thing, and this is really important in everything, be responsible for your part in anything you do. You can say, yes, it's true, there's age discrimination and it's not fair, and they're not treating me right, etc., etc., etc. And what's your part in it? Are you putting your best self out there? If you are, and you're not getting hooked or whatever, then how do you need to change it around to fix it? You just need to take responsibility for you. Another thing is, embrace your thesaurus. Where did that come from? Yeah. So often, how we write our proposals, our pitches, or any of those things, when we have a little bit of wordsmithing in us, it shows that we are educated, that we are experienced, that we do bring better value to the table. And a thesaurus is something that's just, well, I gotta tell you, I have a digital one, and I have one that I've had for years that I keep with me, because I just look at it and I get, I don't know, just from using it, I can think of some good words sometimes. And of course, put your best self into anything and everything that you do. And your best self means how you look on the outside, how you think in your noggin. What's going on in here? As you decide on your lipstick color, decide also on what's your emotional state you're going to present. Where are you going to be coming from emotionally and intellectually for whatever it is you have to do, whether you're being hired for something, or whether you're being taken in as a volunteer for something, or whatever it is. Keep on your financial, physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual path. That might seem really easy to say, but we can all get pulled off. Like, I'm sure you've experienced this. Some disaster come and hits you in life. And it's Some stuff can be very, very devastating. There's no two ways about it. You don't live to this age without having had some stuff happen. Well, I have to tell you, when you are the boss of you, you get up in the morning, you groom, you make your bed, you do your breakfast, you have everything in order. You have a game plan. You have a daily living plan. And you visit that, even if it's only for 10 minutes or it's a half an hour, whatever it is, and you ask yourself, what am I doing? Where am I going? How are my finances? Check them every week. How am I physically? Do I need to step up, keeping myself in shape a little bit more? Intellectually, am I either reading or going to the University of YouTube and learning, or am I doing something to keep my intellectual fires stoked? And of course, the spiritual path is different for everybody, but it's really an important aspect. However you see that, it's really an important aspect in all that we do. Now, healthy boundaries, keep those in place, and foster a deep and long-lasting relationship with yourself based on love, logic, and the greater good. Your relationship with you is the most important relationship in the world, because when you are in sync with you, you can go out and face the world. Are you going to get knocked down? Oh, you're going to get dented, for sure. But are you going to go down into the gutter or into deep depths of despair? Not if you got a good relationship going on with yourself. And having that relationship with yourself means also journaling. I have to tell you, when I journal, I know some of you might get tired of me saying this, but I have to, because it's there goes my glasses again, my crooked ears. When I'm having difficulty or when I'm elated, I make sure I journal it, because as I'm writing it, I feel like I'm writing to myself. I'm having this relationship with myself. When I'm angry, I write it out. I don't, I let it all go, because that's a good, safe place and it's not hurting anybody. And I looked, okay, so what's my part in this issue or situation? What can I do to make it better? And if you've done everything you can, there's something very, positive, strong, humbly strong, actually, loving. There's something that shines through you that people are drawn to. So, when we look at aging, wherever we are on the spectrum, are we aging with our fullest, most actualized self? Are we in love with ourselves? And don't get me wrong when I say by no means am I supporting narcissism. I'm talking about a healthy relationship with self. So, anyway, I think that that's pretty much it. I can't think of it. Oh, yes, there was something else that I wanted to mention, was about the healthy boundaries and comments. Now, we oftentimes have comments coming from people when we're older, especially, or they either ignore us, we're invisible, or they make some nasty comments, and we perceive them as nasty. Now, what we have to also remember is that not every comment that's said is meant to be mean. Often it's simply ignorance. It's a lack of experience, and so on. So don't let yourself be unduly offended and hurt and feeling low and depressed by a comment made by somebody out of ignorance or just not knowing. I think that's a really important thing. And sometimes, and we can tell when people are saying it to be mean or whether they just don't. Somebody said to me, we were having a conversation, there was three of us, And all I can remember is the look on this woman's face and I was standing right there, and she said, these old people, and I looked at her and I said, and I pointed to my hair like this with a smile, because I didn't want to make her feel really bad, but I wanted her to point. And the look on her face, you could see, oh my God, what did I just say? And I said, it's okay. Just something for you to think about. So you see, this woman didn't mean to be mean. She really didn't. But if I hadn't had my healthy boundaries up and thought, wait a minute, I can use this as a learning curve here, she would never have learned anything, and I would have gone home feeling really bad. Well, Mama don't do that anymore. And this is why I strongly feel that it's important to journal this stuff. And I'm going to give you a quote here by Tony Robbins. I strongly recommend it. He said, a life worth living is a life worth recording. And I absolutely, subscribe to that. Okay, so now have we got, let me see, any questions from anybody? I do, with respect to this issue about aging, about what your experiences are. Yes, a healthy, positive mindset, yes. A certain positivity, people will be, Joan Sutherland, or Joan, what do I call Southard, the statement about radiating a certain positivity, people will be drawn to. It's absolutely true. Like, ladies, if we just hone it right back to makeup and hair, right? When you don your makeup and you style your hair and you go out into the world, you get a very different reaction than when you don't bother. Well, it's the same thing with what goes on inside. So, having that relationship with yourself and a strong self is the same thing. When you go out, you not only put on your makeup and hair, you take the rest of you with you. Does that make any sense? I hope so. Does anybody have any questions? Lee is asking about my makeup. I'll come back to that in a second. But I'm just thinking at this part anyway, any questions about age discrimination? Okay, well, if not, then we are just going to go to the question portion of our issue. And let me see, where did Lee go? I lost her. Okay. She has a question. Love this. What balm do you use? I only use the balm that comes with the Maybelline SUPERSTAY. And you can use that as a balm by itself too. You don't need to use anything else. And it's fine. I mean, the only thing that I recommend if you're not wearing any lip color is Vaseline, or what's the other thing? I can't remember right now. Anyway, that's okay. I'm allowed not to remember. But I find that because I wear this lipstick, I never have a problem with dry lips. The balm works really well. So you could wear the balm too. Okay, let me see. I think we have a question here from Lillian Franco. I can't believe you can put powder foundation on an aging eye. Well, you can. You absolutely can. It's that's what I do. My makeup today, like, I only wear what I preach. The reason being that when you put powder on the eye, it kind of like soaks up any oils, so that when you're putting on your false lashes or you're putting on other makeup, it works better. It's like a primer almost, really. And I'm not putting it on with a trowel. I'm putting it on with a brush so that it wears just fine. And let's see, Lily Franco. Oops, sorry about that. Oh no, that's the one I wanted to leave. Okay, and RJ Chavers, do you have any suggestions on how to use liner in the waterline? For some of it, don't apply, much less stay in place, almost like there's an oil or something in my waterline. Yes. Do not use an eyeliner, like a liquid eyeliner in your waterline. Only use a gel liner or a gel pencil, and then add. I put a little bit of powder on over top. You'll find that that will make a huge difference for you. Okay. Oh, what? Oh, sorry, guys. Still learning. Does anybody else have any questions? Joan, let's see what Joan has to say. Joan Southard, Maybelline sell the lips balm separately, just a tube of balm. You know, they used to sell a balm that was kind of a glittery gold, so for special events or evenings, but I haven't seen it around. And I don't know about you guys, but I find that most of when I have worn out a tube of the Superstay, I've always got balm left over. So if you do, you could take it and put it in a little container, just smush it up and have that as an extra if you wanted to. So that's one way to do it. Okay, so Joan also says, there's no dichotomy. We are one person inside and out. Yes, we absolutely are. But many of us aren't familiar with our inner selves, or we don't bother too much with our inner selves. So you know, it's having that relationship. Okay, Lynn Bruno says, I'm trying to figure out this next phase of my life. Thanks, Sharon. Your tips and outlook on life are priceless. Well, I'm really glad that works for you, Lynn. Thank you. And again, journaling, and you'll find so many gems in there for you personally. And Kathy Kitterman, how much eye makeup do you use when you want to balance a red lip? Well, that's a good question, Kathy. You can wear a lot. They say you shouldn't, but it all depends. Or you can wear a little. If you take a look at, I'll post it, summer makeup for savvy seniors, and you'll see where I wear hardly any eye makeup at all. And the red lip. And then you'll see other pictures where I wear, a red lip, as you've seen, with the eye makeup. But I don't believe in a whole pile of eye makeup. And especially at this stage, what we want to concentrate on are strengthening, and I like to think of it that way, strengthening our lash line and our lashes, correcting the brows, even skin tone, and that sort of thing. When you've got that in place, and you've got either a good mascara, or because you're lucky with long lashes, or you wear false lashes, either demi strips or whatever, that's going to bring the strength back. So there's not much need. I only like to use eyeshadow, at this stage in ways that, like for the hooded eye, I talked to you about applying some shadow here and just blending it up and more on the outside, just to help decrease that sense or soften that sense of the eyelid. And someone like myself who has a deeper set eye, well, there used to be, I still do mark the crease a bit, but that's all. And today, for you guys especially, I wore some color. I wore the green, but you can see, again, it's hardly anything. It's hardly anything. It's so soft. So less is more, but strategically placed with the right weight and shape. I hope that helps, Kathy. Stephanie, I was looking for the balm yesterday, didn't see any, but I was just in two stores I looked at, Rite Aid and Walmart. Oh, so Stephanie, they sell just the balm in those stores? Because if that's the case, that's excellent. And Val Clement says, I always have to buy extra balm. Okay, so you can purchase it then. Okay, so that's great. And Stephanie, again, I use all my makeup, but with a lighter hand when wearing a bold lip. Another excellent point. Stephanie's well aware of her face. She knows what looks good and what is, what not to avoid. And when you are practicing putting on your makeup, gals, you get to know these little things. You get to know these little tricks, So do we have any other questions? Okay, I just want to remind you, CoverGirl does sell it, just a balm from Joan. Now I don't know how that balm from CoverGirl would work with the Superstay, but let us know. That would be great. Now remember, if you have any questions or you're looking for something, you can search on the channel and just in the little search box there, or go to the playlist and you can find what you need there. Val Clements, she says, my eyes seem to be more hooded every year. Shoppers have the balm. Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you, Val. Good to know. And yes, our eyes change. Our eyebrows drop. Stuff happens. But it's life. It is moving forward. And you either move forward with it, saying, okay, this is where I'm at now. I'm still going to put my best self forward. When I'm 90, if I make it that far, I can tell you, Mama's going to be doing some makeup and hair as much as I can with what mobility I have left, because it will make me feel better. And when I feel better, I present to the world better, like it does for all of us. So, just a little reminder that if you're looking for anything, about this video, it's in the description box below with all the links and everything else for you. And again, I'm asking you to please like, share, and subscribe, because I'm not monetized or anything. And if you are looking for a Make Better, you can join us at Going Gray and Loving It for, and join in and see what we can do, putting you through the Photoshop spa. Okay, so for this week's quote, aging can be great. See, what used to take a half a day to accomplish in my youth, it now takes 2 days. Truly. The bonus is I get to feel a sense of achievement 3 times longer. The art of perspective management. And that's the truth. I can remember I had a 3-bedroom apartment and 2 bathrooms. I could clean that sucker in a half a day. I'm serious. And it looked good. Now, okay, I'll do the bathroom today. Tomorrow, I'll do the kitchen tomorrow. I'll vacuum on the weekend. So it's a constant state of cleaning for me now. It's not like it all gets done at once. It's a constant state of cleaning. But I've found that I never have to do a big cleaning. It's like shopping. I shop on my way home from choir rehearsal on Thursdays and on Sunday after church. So I never have a big shopping day. I just get what I kind of need. So perspective management for sure. Anyway, I hope that you got something out of this and that you enjoyed it. And to be sure to stay tuned next week. I'm putting up a refresh of makeup for our model Mary, and then we'll be back again next Saturday at 11 o'clock on YouTube for another live stream. Anyway, have a wonderful balance of your day, ladies. We will see you anon.